While the saga of Crystal Cruises may have come to an end, there's news to share about their two ships hiding out in the Bahamas. Executives from Royal Caribbean think that sometime soon you may see an easing of protocols on board their ships. And there's cancellation news to report for Princess and Holland America Line. All this coming up on Midships. Hey, welcome to the Midships YouTube channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. Well, I just got back from Walgreens, about an hour ago. Had to do my COVID test for my cruise tomorrow aboard the Carnival Magic, and the results are in, and they're negative. Well, that's to say I'm negative, so it sounds like I'm going to take you all along with me on the Carnival Magic. I board tomorrow around 10:30. The Facebook group for this cruise, it's popping off. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. There's almost 650 people in that group. If you've never joined the Facebook group for your cruise, that's a little insider tip. It's a great way to get familiar with people on board. And there's usually more than a few events and get-togethers. It's a great way to get to know your fellow cruisers. And coinciding with my cruise on the Magic, Carnival has just rolled out the Verifly app for my cruise. I was able to use it. It's actually a little bit difficult, a little confusing. And since the Verifly app was so confusing, even for a nerd like me, I'm going to be posting a short little video on my Midships Instagram page. You can check it out. There's a link up here in the upper right of just exactly how I uploaded everything and how you can use it yourself for your next cruise. So let's not waste any more time. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off with this cancellation news coming out from Princess and Holland America. This is from an article from cruisehive.com by Emrys Thakkar. Diamond Princess cancellations. As travel restrictions continue and different governments adapt their health and safety protocols, Princess Cruises has made the difficult decision to cancel Japan sailings on board Diamond Princess through June 9th, 2022. The suspension affects 10 upcoming Diamond Princess sailings with embarkation dates ranging from April 28th through June 9th. The affected itineraries range from 5 to 14 days and include the Golden Week sailing, Korea and Japan getaway itineraries, as well as Southern Island voyages. And moving on, there's Westerdam Cruises as well. In September, Holland America Line announced Westerdam would begin sailing 7-night voyages from Seattle, Washington, beginning May 8th. The restart date has now been changed, however, with several early sailings being canceled. The ship's first return to service sailing will now be a 7-night Alaskan Explorer itinerary that departs on June 12, 2022. Further Westerdam sailings in June and throughout the summer have not been changed. And as we're rolling through the cruise news, I want to turn your attention to some facts and figures coming out from the CDC. This actually comes from a website called Cruzely.com, operated by Tanner Calise. He does this wonderful tracking page for all the cruise ship color statuses. Now, I want to point your attention to basically the aggregate of all of these statuses here. And you can see back in January, we were 88.9% of all ships in the US were operating in non-green status. So there was COVID on board. Well, fast forward to the 3rd of February, we have come down dramatically. We're down to 77.8% of ships are now operating in non-green status, which means we are definitely on the right track. The numbers are trending in the right direction. Cruising is safer than ever, like I've always told you. So that's a little bit of positive news to balance out the negative cancellations we just reported on. And speaking of positive news, Royal Caribbean says they've got a lot to talk about because bookings are now back to pre-Omicron levels. Royal Caribbean cruise bookings surge back to pre-Omicron levels. And we're going to start out with a quote from Jason Liberty, President and CEO of Royal Caribbean. In the last week of January, bookings returned to pre-Omicron levels, and we expect demand recovery to continue to accelerate as the variant subsides. Royal Caribbean's new CEO called 2022 a strong transitional year, as the company brings the rest of its fleet back into operation and approaches historical occupancy levels. Among the highlights for Royal Caribbean Group are 2 important brand new ships, the Wonder of the Seas, which will sail for Royal Caribbean, and the Celebrity Beyond, of course sailing for Celebrity Cruises. And I believe there's even a celebrity captain on board Celebrity Beyond. If you're not familiar with Kate McHugh, why don't you go ahead and look her up on Instagram? It's a really fun account to follow. And Michael Bailey, President and CEO of Royal Caribbean International, said bookings have exceeded 2019 numbers. And amidst all the positive chatter coming out from Royal Caribbean's executives, there's beginning to be some rumblings about COVID protocols moving forward with the company as the Omicron variant and COVID starts easing and settling down on board the ships and back on land. Let's learn more from cruiseindustry.com. With the US CDC's conditional sailing order expiring, it shows the agency's confidence in the cruise industry, according to Jason Liberty, CEO of Royal Caribbean Group. While speaking on the company's year-end earnings call, Jason said, "A few weeks ago, the CSO expired, demonstrating the agency's confidence in the overall effectiveness of the health and safety protocols of the cruise industry. Our own protocols continue to go above and beyond anything the framework provided and what consumers will find in any hospitality setting. We continue to engage with the CDC and other public health agencies as we look forward to adjusting our COVID risk mitigation measures in response to the changing nature of the virus. Long-term protocols on the ships may be eased," says Michael Bailey, president of Royal Caribbean International. Working with the CDC when the time is right, Bailey said, "We'll start removing many of the protocols that exist today, and it will become easier and simpler for our customers." Just as a point of reference, around 10 million customers visit our Royal Caribbean website every month, so we're feeling quite positive about where we're going with this. We also believe that in the not too distant future, the CDC Level 4 travel advisory for cruising will be downgraded to Level 3, and I think that will also be another positive step in the right direction. Well, would you look at that? I can't remember a time that any cruise line executive has come out and talked about easing protocols on board a cruise ship in a tangible way that actually feels like it might really indeed happen. But it looks like maybe Royal Caribbean sees something that the rest of us haven't exactly seen yet, and hopefully we have that to look forward to. Now, before our next story about Crystal Cruise Lines and their 2 ships on the run finally being seized by government authorities, I want to remind you, all the articles referenced in today's episode are linked in the description below. Just simply click the down arrow found below this video. At the very top of my links section, there's a link to the Midships Instagram page. Like I told you, I post all kinds of behind-the-scenes content not found on this YouTube channel right there. You can search for me, it's just Midships Cruise. Also, here's a link if it makes it easier. And last but not least, towards the top of that description, there's a link to my Amazon influencers page. In there, you can find the cruise swag I take with me on every single cruise. Things from lanyards to magnetic hooks, passport holders, all kinds of things that will make your next cruise a breeze. And the best part is just clicking on the links does give back to me just a little bit. Thank you in advance for checking it out. Now let's get back to the cruise news. We've got a story coming out from the Daily Mail about the Crystal Symphony and the Crystal Serenity being seized in the Bahamas. Let's learn more from Keith Griffith of the Daily Mail. Rogue cruise ships Crystal Symphony and Crystal Serenity are seized by authorities in the Bahamas. 2 Crystal cruise ships that were diverted to the Bahamas with hundreds of passengers on board have been officially seized in relation to a U.S. warrant over at least $4.6 million in unpaid fuel bills. The Crystal Symphony and Crystal Serenity were commandeered by authorities in waters near Freeport, Bahamas on Friday night. Crew members on both ships reported to Cruise Law News. Both ships had disembarked all passengers at the time of the seizure. The cruise ships were being sought by U.S. Marshals on a federal arrest warrant issued last month after their parent company, Genting Hong Kong, filed to wind up business and a key fuel supplier sought to recoup unpaid bills. The cruise line suspended operations through at least April, and the 2 ships diverted to the Bahamas to evade seizure, infuriating passengers who had expected to end their cruises in either Miami or California. It was not immediately clear how the ships were seized in the Bahamas, which is outside the jurisdiction of the U.S. Marshals. And here we have a look at the Symphony and the Serenity side by side. These are beautiful ships. I ran into them like 3 days ago down in Bimini. They were just chilling out there, hiding from the law. And here we have actually a really helpful map put out by the Daily Mail. This sort of gives you an idea in reference to where the ships were supposed to be, where they've been hiding out down here in Bimini, and where the ships were arrested on February 4th. And in addition to the Symphony and the Serenity, the Crystal Endeavor is also under an arrest in Argentina, according to Cruise Law News. A source on board the Endeavor reported to Cruise Law News that they were supposed to leave yesterday, and now they have to wait there on Monday as the courts don't work on the weekends. A spokesperson for Crystal Cruises told Daily Mail that we're unable to comment on pending legal matters at this time. Crystal Serenity and Crystal Symphony's voyages ended last month, and there were no guests on board. The officers and crew on board are being well cared for and staying in single accommodations, some of which are guest staterooms, added a spokesperson. We're making sure they're comfortable and able to enjoy the various amenities on board the ship. Crew members have been paid per their normal schedules, and we're meeting and exceeding all contractual obligations. A source close to the crew members of the Crystal Symphony confirmed to the Daily Mail that the crew had been paid and had ample food and can now make plans to return home. And the article goes on to embed some videos from on board the ship of the last passengers getting off. There's also some tweets and some photos. I'd encourage you to check it out. Like I said before, it's linked in the description below. And before we move on, I'd like to invite you into the Midships family as a subscriber to the channel. We have a goal of reaching 10,000 subscribers by the middle of next month. And if all of you hit the subscribe button right now, we'd meet the goal like a month and a half early. And a quick reminder, I'll be going live tomorrow from on board the Carnival Magic as we get ready to sail away. So make sure you don't miss out on it. If you made it this far into today's episode, make sure you smash that like button if you wish you could cruise with me tomorrow on board the Magic. Thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. And until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships.
La 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 la